If you're of reproductive age, you should have no business using vaginal lubricant.
When you're 30 years of age, you should have erection, and it has nothing to do with sexual wellness. It's not just a function of your reproductive state. It's your cardiovascular system. It's entire system. You being tired is normal. It's not. For girls to having period pains are normal. It is not normal. People don't pay attention to it until it gets really bad, until they almost cannot function. And now we see younger people, younger patients with more disease. Today I saw again a patient that is completely menopausal at the age of 30.
It is so sad.
So if you have one problem for a long period of time, it becomes your new norm.
Welcome back to the 5R method. Today we begin with the first R, reveal, and we're going to learn from Dr. Marina Yuabova how to read your body's signals before it starts screaming. You know, the deal is most people only go to the doctor when something hurts, breaks, or stops working. But what if your body has been whispering much longer before that and you just didn't know how to listen? Dr. Marina, hi. So happy to be here for episode 2 with you.
Happy to be here with you as well.
And excited to dive deeper into what we talked about last time is one of the most multifaceted steps in the 5R method, the reveal step. And I think that this, for me, from what you shared with me last time, really sets you apart because you do such a special and thorough job in evaluating your patients, not only physically, but energetically, mentally. There's so many different ways and really parts of our being that contribute to illness and why the body might not be functioning properly. So really excited to dive deeper and understand what perhaps our listeners could learn more about to start to listen to these warning signs before they turn into like a full-fledged, problem.
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, we need to understand that not everybody is so in tune with themselves to feel what the signals are given to their bodies. Like I just had a patient today that I consulted her and she doesn't feel much, she doesn't feel things. So we need to firstly be in tune with ourselves to understand what symptoms are there and what to pay attention to. So when I speak with the patient for very first time, I ask them for very specific questions. A lot of times patients, yes, they come because they don't feel well, but some say, well, specifically for fertility, there are issues they cannot conceive, but how can we improve this? In order to improve it, you need to understand what broke, what happened, what needs to be improved. It is very specific work. So I start with question, how do you wake up in the morning? In what mood? How much energy you have? What do you eat or drink to make you feel certain way, right? Because a lot of people now, they addicted to coffee or stimulant, something. It's like early pick-me-up. They say, I cannot function without my early coffee. So this is very important to understand. Then you had your breakfast. What did you eat? How does it make you feel? You have to have time for this. You have to be curious enough to understand. Why am I asking these questions? I want to understand what is there in digestive tract and how it relates to the system overall. If somebody says, well, I ate A, B, C, D, and F, and after that I felt like I fell into coma, which happens a lot of time, that means that they cannot digest and they're eating things that cause a lot of inflammation because gut and the brain is very closely connected. How long does it take you to get out of coma? For example, like all of this makes sense. So after that, how do you feel during the day? How much energy lasts throughout the day? When do you feel you're really tired? So if patient tells me, you know what, I'm okay until about 4 o'clock. Question is, what happens at 4? Or I'm so tired, I need to take a nap. What does it mean? Most probably patients like that, they have adrenal fatigue. Like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock when it hits, we know their adrenals are tired. If patient tells me that they wake up in the morning and they're already tired, that thyroid problem. You see, all of these symptoms are right there. You just have to understand how to read the signs that body gives you. Hair. So now we're in a time when women lose a lot of hair. In centuries ago, women were judged by their beauty, by their hair. How much hair do you have? Is it full hair? How much brows they have? Are the brows are full? So when I speak to my patients, I always ask them, as I did today through teleconference, I ask my patient, are your brows that full all the time, or you use something to fill them in? The answer was, yeah, I have a pencil, I fill them in. A pencil is so nice. It's very, it has small bristles. And actually, when it paints my brows, it looks real. My question was, where exactly in your brows you fill it? And she showed me. She showed me in and out. Exactly. So when in, you have to fill testosterone deficiency. Out, you have to fill thyroid deficiency. Like even brows, testosterone deficiency. So if it is on top like that, growth hormone deficiency. Like brows, just brows tell you so much. We didn't run any tests yet. It's already so much has been revealed. You see, we're still in a reveal. We're still understanding, okay, how people feel after they eat. I feel that and that. It's also a stage of reveal, understanding what's happening. The worst leaky gut I ever had, the worst patient that reported to me that this patient gets bloated after they drink water. So what did it reveal to me? Severe leaky gut, because the gut junctions are damaged, they opened. So when patient drinks water, the fluid seeps through into pelvic cavity and causes inflammation. You see how much you can already understand about the patient. Just having a verbal communication. You didn't even do any kind of tests yet.
That's incredible. I mean, you just asked maybe like 3 questions and we've already, process of elimination gotten to perhaps not exactly what everything that's wrong with the patient, but you already have so much information to start working from. For people who, because, our life is so full with stresses and we're here and we're there and we're everywhere and so overstimulated, what is the difference between someone just feeling like off or actually being in the early stages of an internal imbalance?
So the way we're functioning, everybody is constantly pushing themselves to perform more. So when we're constantly in a hurry, because it's life. It's when I used to live in New York, everybody always running. Everybody's always running. Now in Florida, people don't run as much, but people still running. So understanding the symptoms, what mood do you wake up with? What do you need to give you energy? How you digest and how you feel after you eat. Do you need to take nap after you're eating? How are you functioning in your relationship? For women, do you even have vaginal dryness or not? So vaginal dryness for somebody of reproductive age is not a normal sign. People don't understand that. It's not normal. But what we see as a culture, right? You can go to any pharmacy and they have whole set of vaginal lubricants. Oh, it's not the problem. You go to Joanne, and Joanne says, oh, you have vaginal dryness, not a big deal. You can get the lubricant and this is your answer. If you're of reproductive age, you should have no business using vaginal lubricant. If you have proper amount of hormones released out of your system, your vagina should be moist. That's just natural. That's why we have the moisture. That's a natural thing. For male, I ask them very specific questions, functional questions. You wake up, how do you feel? Any erection? Depending on age. So if an adult is 32 years old and there is no erection and wasn't erection upon awakening for 5 years, it's very alarming. Because when you're 30 years of age and you're very reproductive age, you should have erection, and it has nothing to do with sexual wellness. It is general wellness, because ability to have erection, it's not just a function of your reproductive state. It's your cardiovascular system, it's entire system. So it is very specific. So when people start noticing small things, like you wake up a little bit not so fresh, but you had full night of sleep, and you see that you crave things like sugar, you understand you're now most probably going into insulin resistance, or you're looking for this energy, because sugar is energy. So if you need that to function, obviously something to look at. Don't be waiting until you completely fell apart. When people get sensitive to temperatures, cannot tolerate heat or cannot tolerate cold, it's also, they're fully functioning, but things are not working great. We can optimize and people can function at the best.
Is this something that someone would notice over what period of time before they should give you a call? Or as sometimes, like you mentioned, the awareness is like, oh, the first or second time you might not know. Oh, I was just, I'm right about to have my period. I need a little snack. I need a little this. And you might not even pay attention that you're even having a craving or, I was extra stressed out at work this week. So I didn't have as much energy this morning. Over what period of time is it getting to kind of a perhaps dangerous pattern?
So it takes a while, but people don't pay attention to it until it gets really bad, until they almost cannot function. And then they come. And it's like, I don't feel great. And I still went to my doctor, and my doctor says my blood work is okay. So the blood work actually will show once really get bad. It's not going to show in the beginning because your body's still doing it, still functioning to the best ability. Eventually, give it some more time, few months, and it's going to be evident. But do we want to wait? So our society teaches people not to be so in tune with themselves and say, for example, aging and ability of your body to recover is appropriate to age, or your functionality because of your age is appropriate. Oh, you're 65 years old, you being tired is normal. It's not. Or you having pain everywhere in your body, or your joint hurts, it's normal. It is not normal. For girls to having period pains are normal. It is not normal. Think about yourself in school. Of course, I do not know what they said then, but now any young girl you have that goes to school, as soon as it's known that she's on her period, oh, it's okay, she's in pain. Why is it okay? It's not okay. When women menstruate, we should not have pain. We should not have days off because it's not a disability. It's a proper function of the body. But the body doesn't function properly. This is what happens.
When you're seeing patients with excessive or very intense menstrual cramps, what is that a sign of?
So again, we're talking about one sign. It's always a question, what bothers you and when does it bother you? Let's say your menstrual cycle starts and your menstruation starts in 3 days and you're in pain right now. It means something else. Also, does anything changes with digestion? For example, you're on your period. Does your digestion change? That makes a big difference. And I ask them. If they say, well, I actually get diarrhea every time I'm on my period. So what it means to me, she's very estrogen dominant, too much estrogen. And when it fluctuates everywhere where she has receptors for estrogen, it gets more inflamed and that causes pain. So I treated patients with endometriosis. So usually these things, function of the bowel that changes with menstruation, it's a sign of endometriosis. Unfortunately, in the United States, in order to diagnose with endometriosis, you have to have a surgery, sadly. But there are enough signs to see that aligns with this diagnosis so we can treat them.
We talked about, not having the self-awareness to know when something's off or perhaps shrugging it off as, oh, well, this is aging or this is how it is. After someone is having this conversation with you, how do you help them going forward connect better with their intuition about their bodies?
Absolutely. Firstly, I always tell them that they are the most important being for themselves. That's number one. And no matter what they're doing it first for themselves. It always has to be their gain. And if they decide to change that, it should be not for their mother, not for their father, not for the husband, not for the children. It should be for themselves. Like you want to be better? It has to be for you. It's not definitely for me. I can share my expertise, I can guide you, but it's all for you. Like you investing within yourself. This is so important. And again, I teach my patients, it's a lot of education. Take 5 minutes, just sit and reflect within yourself. What did you have during the day? How did your day go? How do you feel inside? Are you peaceful? Or maybe you don't have peace. If you're not peaceful, what bothers you? And how often does it bother you? Today I spoke with a patient. She's a lovely girl. So while we're having conversation, within 2 minutes, I think she sighed 5 times. And I asked her, I was like, you know what? You have sighed 5 times in 2 minutes. Anybody ever told you that you might be anxious and you have anxiety? She's like, oh, nobody ever told me this. I'm always like that. But does it mean it's normal? No. Nobody should be anxious. But what do we see now? Younger population of children, they're all anxious and they think it's normal. It is so sad. Things are changing and they're not getting any healthier. And now we see younger people, younger patients with more disease, sadly. Today I saw again patient that is completely menopausal at the age of 30. She's menopausal. It's so sad.
That's terrible. As you're speaking, I'm thinking about now myself sighing. In my get ready process, I had a girlfriend call me out. I was on a vacation once and she said, Jamie, do you know you sigh after every single step in your get ready process? You put the foundation on, there's a sigh. You put the concealer on, there's a sigh. You put the blush on, then it's the mascara, there's a sigh.
This is interesting. You see now? So sigh, it's how we release stress.
Yes,
That's
and she
what you're
said you
doing.
sigh after every step you complete getting ready.
So you see, she spent her time and paying attention to you.
Yes.
Do you do that for yourself? Do you pay attention to yourself?
No, and I like to think that I'm pretty self-aware, and I know when something is off in my body. I grew up as a dancer, ballet, tap, jazz for 35 years, and I still dance and do yoga and all the things today. But that was something that I did not notice.
You see, this is so interesting. It's definitely, and you know what? Maybe patients don't pay attention. But when we have the very first conversation, so this is a big reveal, right? We're just talking before you do blood work. I ask them specific questions like, what happened before this happened? Like for the patient that I had today, she's complete menopausal woman at age of 30. So I asked her what happened 6 months before then. Of course, it was some stressful event that shifted her entire system, because it doesn't happen by itself. There was always something. So physiologically, it could be virus, bacteria, parasite, or toxin, something, or some kind of condition that patient had, or emotional trauma. Something is always triggering. So it's very important to find the trigger. So if I understand with this patient, like she was here today, and I said, listen, this sounds to me like that you need very specific involvement of a specialist who will be able to guide you and erase that trauma so your body can heal. Yes, we can do everything on physiological standpoint, but you need additional help. With most of my patients, I do this work. I do past life regression therapy, and I take them back in age to erase and make it easier for them so they can, achieve their goal, whatever their goal is. But the body is so sensitive to all of these interesting emotional triggers that we might have. We do not realize, but it's very impactful.
And we've also been probably storing them, especially if it's from childhood, and holding them in the body for your entire life. And then it's almost like, the straw that breaks the camel's back when something happens as an adult, that it's like the tipping point almost, right?
Absolutely. So when I work with my patients, I take them all the way back into their state of an embryo, 1 day of age. And then from there, we walk forward to see where that, sometimes it's even mom, when she feels something and her emotion gets related to the embryo, but we are such a recording system, like even the body of the embryo records it. So if we don't erase that impacts the health of the child, adult, when they grow. It is so interesting. It's amazing. First time when I started doing it, I was like, wow, this is just great. What else can I do to make it better? So kind of constantly looking for tools to use to improve patients' well-being. It's a lot of fun. Of course, I exercise it on me as well. It's also fun. It's very enlightening.
Absolutely. It's a total transformation in mind, body, spirit, all of the ways. Okay, how does functional blood work, perhaps the blood work that you're doing, or your energy analysis, help to pinpoint exactly where we start to heal? Which one do we do first? The chicken or the egg? Do we start energetically? Do we start physically?
So definitely. So if I understand the patient need very specific work, like they need a therapist or they need a hypnotherapist, I tell them very first day, because a reveal is the first day, even before we do anything else, even before blood work. And I tell them, the goal is to reach the result that you're looking for. It's not about me. It's all about the patient. This is very important for you to understand, and you need to look for the provider. If I cannot do it, I understand what I can and cannot do. You need to find a provider that will help you. Meanwhile, we're going to do blood work. So me saying that, already changing their perspective. You cannot, just doing physical, heal all entire system. You also need to address emotional trauma. You see, it's already changing during the first visit. I'm not going to say do this, and we do everything the same time. When blood work comes, then we see how involved system is in entire chaos to understand. And I also understand their body, where the blockage is. So how do we undo it? Like the way acupuncturists are doing it. So the best acupuncturist is a master that's able to read energy. They're not doing it by notebook. They don't do it by pictures. They do it as they feel it to unblock the energy and make it release so everything flows as it should be and everything correct. We do a lot. And when I have this functional interpretation of results, it actually gives very interesting picture where it shows by functionality how the system is involved in percentage and which body parts affected. It is very interesting. Of course, putting it all together, it is mastery of the provider. You have to know how to put it all together. Where do you start? And again, no matter who I work with, we want to make sure that psychological aspect is addressed. Digestion, we address it. Deficiency, we make sure they're nutritionally dense. Like you have to undo almost everything. It takes time. We also use peptides to reconnect. I have gentlemen, I have women where their brain is not connecting to their gonads. You have to start working on reconnection because if you don't reconnect, they're never gonna have the result they're looking for because signaling is coming from the brain. It's not just your gonads, it's not ovaries and not just testicles. It comes from here. Something happens that disrupts that connection. How do we reconnect? And everybody, it's different solution to different patient, to different person.
Not to be stereotypical, do you find sometimes going back to kind of that emotional part or wound or trauma that's being held inside, do you feel like that's harder to reveal in men more so than women?
Very much so.
And
When
not
I work
again,
with
not to say that men are not in tune with their emotions, but simply a product of how they were raised, not being able to show emotion or even
and
kind of
we also teach them, the boys when they're young, we tell them, don't cry, you're a man. It's a mistake. We teach them not to reveal so they don't. And you know what I saw right during COVID? Men are so out of tune with themselves because a lot of people, the adverse effect, the side effects of COVID, hopefully didn't kill them, but it would be shortness of breath. And I work with a lots of men that didn't notice that they were out of breath. Women were all in tune. They all came with specific complaint. Like, I cannot crawl, I cannot walk up the stairs. I'm out of breath all the time. I have to, it's not the way it should be. It wasn't like that before. Men would come because their wives would drag them. And I would ask them, okay, COVID is over. You lived it. You outlived it. You're fine. What bothers you? She's like, I don't know. She brought me. And I'm asking the wife, I was like, how can I help you? And she would tell me. Guys do not feel it. They really don't complain until it really gets there. But the idea to see it early enough so we can address it.
and it doesn't become disease because at some point these symptoms and this dysregulation can turn into lifelong disease. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So it is very interesting how we different genders and how differently we function. When when men look at us and they say, well, she complains all the time. We don't complain. We are just so in tune. We can relate the message, explain to somebody how we're feeling. Guys, keep it all in. Sadly, by statistic, you can check statistic, men from mid-40s to mid-50s, the rate of heart attack is very high. And unfortunately, at that age, if they have heart attack, they don't survive. We call it a widow maker. It's so sad, but they're so young. So we know if heart attack happens in this age, very likely they don't survive. But of course, signs are there before, but they're not viewed. They're not noticed. Nobody have heart attack out of blue other than maybe they have, a blood clot that dislodged and just got stuck somewhere. That's exception. But any heart attack is there before that, always have signs and symptoms. It just doesn't happen overnight or over 5 minutes. So if men would pay attention, we will keep them so much more instead of losing them because it's so sad. So every time I have somebody, a friend, and they tell me, oh, something happened to that person, he had a heart attack. My next question is, how old was this person? So by age, I already know. It's so sad, but we have to be in tune with ourselves.
We talked about how the body whispers before it screams, right? And in a couple different cases, in COVID, in fertility, in thyroid. What are 5 perhaps maybe early signals that most people ignore that tell you that something deeper is going on? That you're just like, oh, nope, this is something.
Absolutely. Something I really pay attention to. You see how they wake up with the mood, how they're sleeping, quality of sleep. Are they sleeping? If patient is waking up or somebody is waking up 2 to 3 times a night, it's disturbed, done. So there is also no growth hormone production. We need growth hormone production for recovery and repair. If you're not sleeping deep enough, you're not sleeping long enough because you have insomnia of some sort, obviously you're not repairing. Eating. How do you feel after you eat? Like it's a small bells, like small rings already telling you your digestion is not okay. If you're eating something and you feel extremely heavy and bloated, obviously you're not digesting because you don't have proper digestive enzymes. Young girls, fluctuations with their menstruation. If you see big fluctuations, 2-3 days is okay, maybe 4 days is okay. In between months. But if you are beyond that, it is not okay. So what is missing? Even menstrual cycle itself, it's like a symphony. In order for a woman to have regular menstrual cycle, whole body has to be in tuned, not just reproductive organs, whole body. And of course, if woman is stressed, her menstruation comes earlier. And all my patients like, oh, I'm menstruating whole week before. It's like, it's normal. You told me you outliving the stressful situation. That's how you're responding because your cortisol is releasing and everything is changing. So it is very specific. It's very, very interesting. Brain fog. It's a big one.
Oh,
Yes.
big.
So constipation or diarrhea. When somebody tells me, I was like, I have a chronic diarrhea. My question is, what does it mean to you? What does that mean? Because people have different understanding of bodily functions. A lot of times patients come and I ask them, how does your bowel functions? Oh, it's normal. Again, what does that mean? Can you explain to me? How often do you go to the bathroom? For number 2, how does it look like? How does it smell like? Does it float on top of the water in the toilet or it sinks in? Like, it's very specific questions. And people are like, oh, I go twice a week. It's normal for me. How is it normal?
Twice a week.
So it's all about education, right? We need to educate what is okay and what is not. It's all because somebody said it was absolutely normal function of your system. You don't have to empty that often. Twice a week is good enough. It's not. So a lot of education. And if it's not, we have to do everything to activate it. It's transition time from the moment we swallowed and ate and swallowed to the moment it's out of your system. It should not be 72 hours.
Right. I can't imagine. Okay, so we're talking about the gut. We're talking about bowel movements. How does the gut communicate that distress besides whether it's emptying itself or not before these symptoms can turn into lifelong or a long disease?
So even if somebody is struggling with the gut issue for a while, we always can reverse it. It's just proper way to address it, to understand what's causing the issue, why they're not eliminating early or soon enough, I should say. Are they deficient of magnesium? Maybe they're not drinking. Maybe they're not moving enough. Maybe they don't have enough fiber. I understand there should be some deviation from norm, but everybody should be going to the bathroom at least once a day, emptying. So we need to see what body is missing to correct those needs. Also, for somebody with thyroid sluggishness, they're going to be constipated. So thyroid plays a very important role in everything in our system. Everything. Brain fog. Most of the time, brain fog is because people have leaky gut, chronic inflammation. So we have system that communicates. If digestion is not great and it's always stagnant, people don't eat right, don't eat often enough, it causes inflammation. Inflammation will show itself in the function of the brain. Forgetfulness, cloudy thinking, not being able to use proper information on time. When I speak to my patients, I pay attention how fast they speak. I had this patient a couple of years ago. She was lovely, but she spoke so slowly. And I told her, I was like, I don't want to upset you, but you speak like you're moving like a sloth. We need to check your thyroid level. She's like, well, I did it with my other doctor. It was okay. I was like, no, the way you speak, the speed of it, it's so slow. And of course, she was so sluggish. We corrected her, and 8 months later, she's like nonstop. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, do you see the difference now? The speech changes.
Yeah, the brain fog specifically, is that something that can turn permanent? Or again, like you said, is it always reversible?
It gets more chronic if you don't address the gut. So if somebody has digestive issues, which relates to the function of the brain, we always know inflammation. You're more inflamed than the body, you're going to be inflamed than the brain. It's one system. So we need to reduce inflammation. You need to make system open and release. Give proper nutrition to reduce the inflammation. And again, food is so important. And again, in my program, proper dietary modifications to each individual, because everybody is so different. Everyone is their own person. I don't have two modifications or one modification to two people. They're all different. And I explain it to all of them. Individual care to individual patient to have great results.
All right. So we're talking about the individual patient. And I think this is a very individual and specific issue. Obviously, patients come to you because they say they want to heal, but have you ever noticed that a part of them is still almost holding on or resisting to the way they're doing things or how they are? And how do you gently and lovingly help them see that and flip that script?
So it's very important to explain. Firstly, it's good to understand that they have internal blockages and they're not willing to change something because there is a gain for something else. For example, first time when I saw this, it's actually turned my head backwards. Couldn't believe it. So I had a patient in New York. She had a multiple sclerosis and she was already on wheelchair bound. She was very young. She was in the early 30s with a young child. And young husband. And I told her, I was like, listen, I can help you regulate your immune response and teach your body to respond properly with proper energy release and storage, and you will be out of wheelchair. You know what she told me? She said, if God wants to heal me, it will heal me. Oh, yes. Continuation. I said, we can do that. I invited her for some kind of procedure. I think it was an ozone therapy, specific things, and she needed to be in my office. Although she lived in New York, she didn't live in a different planet. She lived right there. She just needed to come to the office once a week for this procedure. Her response was, if God wants to heal me, it will heal me in my wheelchair in my house. To me, I was like, why do I need her to heal more than she needs it? I actually, it took me some time to internalize it. And I called somebody else, another colleague of mine, who's much more experienced in this realm. And I was like, I had this patient, and this is what she told me. You know what this person said? It's like, what is their situation in the family like? And I explained, and this is what this doctor told me. He's like, most probably, this is how she controls her husband to be close to her all the time. So this way, the husband is bound to the wife, but not many people realize that they have internal gain.
There's something that's serving them about
Exactly.
the condition.
So I'm offering help to you that you never got before, and we can resolve this. You just need to be more available, and you're finding loops and reasons not to do this.
It's so interesting. What happened? How did that patient resolve or not?
I actually offered it to her. I explained it again, and she didn't want to do anything about it. She said, no, I'm good the way I am. I'm good. I was like, you have a child. The child is young. You can play with your child outside. You don't have to sit and be in a wheelchair. We can change that. She didn't want to. So when patients have no desire, you cannot force them because it's their right. We are writing our life. So does she. She writes herself. She writes her own story. We write our own story. So what we're going to read at the end, it depends on what we wrote in it. And that's her journey.
Oh, that's so moving. And, it's like the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink. And it's sad, especially knowing that there is a way that can improve their quality of life and transform their life. But that is probably so far outside of the patient's comfort zone at that point that they're like, it's worse for the patient to learn a new way of life than to actually, it's like choose your hard almost. And they choose the hard that they still have, right?
That's first time when I saw this, it was very weird to me, honestly, because I could not understand it. And I still gave her options. When I see patients now, I tell them very openly, I was like, you will have a good result. You will. I guarantee that to you. Only when you address this. And I asked them again, I was like, from 0 to 10, how driven are you to make a change? Because I'm doing it for years. I know the results I get. Only if you follow. But if you don't follow, then results will be according. We know how it works. And if I ask them from 0 to 10, what is your drive? And they say, oh, kind of 6. I was like, we cannot work together because I'm not gonna see the results that I want to, because what drives me, the result. If I don't get the result I want to, why do I do it? Oh, no, now 7 or 8. I was like, no, it doesn't work like this. You know what? We're gonna end this conversation right now. We'll communicate again in 2 weeks. Do your internal work. Talk to yourself. I want to understand that's so important to you that you want to do this. I don't force anybody, and I don't chase patients. I don't chase after them. They have to have a desire. Everything is on the table. We're very open. I explain to them all the processes. I explain to them how it works, what needs to be happening, what's entailed. I tell them everything. I don't hide anything, but it's their desire to follow or not. So I pick and choose who to offer it to, even because I want a great result. And if somebody forcing somebody, I had a patient that brought her daughter by force. And I told her, I do not function like this. If your daughter doesn't want this work, even if you force her, it's not going to be beneficial. So the daughter was 27 years old, young female. Mom begged me, can you just please speak to her so she can maybe understand you better? She was with very specific condition. She had that 4th stage of endometriosis, very severe, young girl. So when I spoke to her, I explained to her, I don't understand where this problems comes from, that she doesn't want to make a change. But when I explained to her what will happen if she doesn't make that change, and she was ready to start, because people need to be educated. Like, I paint the picture. You can have either this or this. What would you prefer? Like, I painted the picture to this patient that was with multiple sclerosis in New York. And I told her, you could be out of wheelchair playing with your child. She didn't want to. So it's internal struggle. They have to, if they're not able to step out of the situation with me, where I'm guiding them, they're going to have to do it by themselves. It's okay. It's their time.
Well, and what I love about what you just said is the accountability that you're holding the patient to by saying, no, you go away, look in the mirror, look inside, have a conversation with yourself, and then let me know. If you follow up 2 weeks later, nothing's happened, then you know that that's kind of the accountability, that they're not going to be giving it what you're going to be giving it to get to the result.
Exactly. Because yes, I can guide them, but what do they do when I'm not with them? It's a big question, right? And that's why we educate them so much. I give them all the tools, everything, all the guidance they need. They just need to follow. So that's that.
When you see that they're pushing back against you, and you obviously sense and know it intuitively, immediately, I can tell you just know. The therapy part of it, the internal part of it, to unblock whatever they're holding on to, is that part with you, or is that part with another therapist that you work with?
So I do a lot. I know if I'm able to do it or not. I feel it. I know it. I know if patient will follow, if patient going to let me in. I know it. It's much easier with women. With men is a little bit more challenging because they guard so much more. They're afraid to let go and let people in. But it's just a process. I feel it. If I feel that I can do it, I do it with them. If I feel right away, like I had a patient today, I told her, I'm not going to be able to help you with this because I know she's very specific and it's something that she doesn't want people that she works with. No, it's very traumatic experience. And I told her, you can, find somebody, and apparently she's already working with somebody who will help her overcome this trauma. Whoever she's comfortable with, that's the most priority for me. As long as you get it over with, just get it over with. If we are in middle age, we all have our triggers because we already lived half of the life. Who lives for 40 years and has no trauma?
No one.
No such thing. No such thing. Everybody has something. So ability to deal with it. And again, it's not about me. It's about this person and their desires and how much they're driven and what's best for them. So this lovely lady already working for somebody. I'm hoping all for the best. We're going to continue and hopefully we'll see good results.
Well, I hope for the best for her too. Yeah, we can give people solutions sometimes and they almost self-identify with the problem. So for someone listening who is feeling off and perhaps doesn't know where to start, and wants to change, does have that desire and is like, okay, wait, this isn't normally how I am. What's one small action that they can take today to begin revealing the root causes of what's going on with them?
Firstly, they need to have self-identification. Firstly, we have to identify with ourselves. I have patients, and when they identify with themselves as their profession, that's not how we identify, right? We identify as a human being, as a mother, as a wife, as yourself, number one. Like, you have to identify who you are. then thinking, how is your system functioning, how the body functioning, how you're feeling, what your mood is like. Like this is all reveal. Understanding your endocrine system, even your bowel function, your nails, your hair. Now when in era with the women using a lots of hair extensions because they're losing their hair. Why women should be losing hair? Healthy women should not be losing hair. Healthy women should have very thick, beautiful, luscious hair. And the girls are now have bald. So sad. What is it talking about? It's talking about the endocrine health. So that very, very old movie. And it showed very old Russia. I believe it was like 18th centuries. And they were showing how they were choosing a bride. So women did not cut their hair. They had braids. So a way to choose a bride was to looking at her thickness of and length of her braid. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So by that, they knew she's healthy or not. It says a lot, right? It's a
Right.
big reveal here.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. I'm going to braid my. I wonder how I do.
Because that's what they looked for assessment. See something you could see without digging, no blood work, no nothing. How much hair this woman has. So that gives you a sign, will she be able to carry children? Is she strong enough? Can she do that hard work? Because then women work hard. They work hard now too, but differently, right? Less physical, more mental stress. Then they had more physical stress, less mental stress. It's very different. But this is very interesting. And just understanding yourself, you can understand and compare how you're now to 6 months from now, 6 months ago. Compare. Are you functioning the same way or not? Are you able to sleep through the night? What's the sleep quality? Do you have dreams? That's another question I ask my patients. Do you dream? She's like, oh, I do not know. Last dream I had was probably 10 years ago. Sad. Okay? Sad. You have to dream. You have to dream because it's function of the brain. Are you able to repair and fall deep enough into sleep? Are you able to still have that system that shows you pictures at night? It is so important.
So the 6-month marker on either side would be a good kind of barometer to
Even 3 weeks marker could be good time. Even 3 weeks. If you know something is changing, don't wait until it gets bad. Give it a couple of weeks. See if it's resolving. If it's not resolving, find somebody to help you. Don't be waiting. Because, longer we wait, more
It's
normal
like a
it gets.
snowball.
It gets normal. So if you have one problem for a long period of time, it becomes your new norm. Let me show you this. Let me explain this to you. So about 25 years ago, I was already in medicine and we took care of, I did pediatrics as well. We didn't have so many children with allergies and asthma. Now we have lots of children with allergies and asthma. And now we say children that are allergic to peanuts and all the other things, plus children with asthma, it's normal. Why is it normal? When sick child is ever normal? When is it normal? You see? See, when we wait for too long for certain symptom to be, it becomes your own. Now you own it. Now it's yours. And now it's going to be much more difficult to undo it. It's doable. We can do it. It just takes time.
Are food allergies something that can be 100% undone? Children who have them from perhaps maybe even from birth, right? Is that something that even if there's been improvement, something that can totally be reversed?
It gets
or not
improved. Yes, I do not do pediatrics. I do it only very exceptional cases when my patients are asking me to help. I don't really do pediatrics, but it's definitely be able to take care of it. It's doable. So anybody who has multiple food allergies, it's usually problem with a liver. It's too much inflammation. Liver is not. Anybody who has food allergies, you can ask them. Most of the time, they're constipated. It's always digestive tract. Like you have to deload digestive tract to let toxins out. Because when food sits in the digestive tract for a long period of time, it's like toxins that accumulate and go nowhere. So you want to deload them. You have to get rid of the system, get rid of the body so body can breathe again. So lymph is moving and all the allergens, they come down. Body does not react so much. Allergens are there, but body is not so reactive anymore. And a lot of children now that have multiple allergies, multiple.
Do you see food allergies happening in adults out of nowhere that they never had them before?
It's never out of nowhere. It's food sensitivities. And when patients come and say, I have skin condition, when they show me skin like lesions or breakouts, I know it's always digestive. The face, the back, it's always digestive. We start working on maybe on week 3, 4, it all clears up because I always address liver. you have to address it. It's your filter. If you're constantly banging it and you're not cleaning it, why are you surprised? It's like, I think we spoke about it last time. Like, if you have an AC, don't you change the filter so often? You have to.
I know when I have to change the filter because there's more dust everywhere. And it's the same inside your body. It's like the toxins.
Exactly. So we need to, if we keep it clean and we keep the filter clean, nothing will be related, nothing will be shown on the skin. I onboarded a patient, I think 3 weeks ago. She came with very specific requests, but she also had very specific complaints. Tired all the time, depressed and anxious all the time, constipated, thyroid is not working. Like, I see patients again and again like this, bloated. And also on her arm, she had very specific skin lesions. She said from 2019, she went to dermatologist and these lesions did not get improved. So she used steroid creams, whatever she was given, she used, no improvement. Week 3 from working, the lesions are cleared. She came for IV treatments. They're coming every week for people that I onboard here locally. They come every week. It was week 3. She showed me, it's like, look, I don't have it. So now it's just teaching the system how to work properly and then maintaining it.
Simply incredible. Oh, I'm so inspired. I want to get on the first flight down to Boca Raton and have my reveal meeting with you, Dr. Marina.
Sure. Actually, patients don't need to fly here. We do telehealth. So it's very convenient.
Oh, well, I'm so glad I brought that up. Well, listen, if this episode made you rethink how you're listening to your body, you've already begun your first R, reveal. To find out what your body's been trying to tell you, schedule your reveal consultation with the National Wellness Group in Boca Raton or visit nationalwellnessgroup.com, and you can do it in person or virtual. So glad we brought that up. All right, Dr. Marina, thank you so much. And we will see you on episode 3.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.